Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Skate Escape. I am your host, Malcolm Watson. In this episode, let's talk about it. Recently, I looked at Chico Bruna's interview, and I've always been intrigued and curious to know how it goes down when guys leave companies. Is it always the same? Was it personal? People getting along? Did they do it the right way and whatnot? And it seems like it's always that pattern of companies, brands preaching brotherhood, we're all one, we're a family. But then when things go south, all of a sudden it just turns into the most toxic relationship. And because it's never done professionally, people end up losing friendships that you thought were a bit, I guess, more genuine than they end up being. In Chico's case, and then as in any relationship, communication is key. That can the right communication, just simply telling a person what's going on, is the difference from a relationship staying intact through the hard times, or a relationship going sour and ending at a point to where you don't even respect the person, or you don't want to be anywhere near the individuals that you once considered close. And his case was no exception. He mentioned how it at the end, about 5 or 6 months went by with no paycheck. And if someone in the building could have simply just got on the phone, which is all he was reaching out for, to find out what was going on, he would have been fine, because he was there from day one. We talking almost 30 years of traveling together, getting money together, shooting photos, and just making history in the skateboarding game. And to have that end because you guys can't get on the phone and say, look, things are slow right now, so we're not going to pay you this month, but we'll make up for it next month or the month after that. And it's just that simple conversation goes a long way. But so many times in this business, silence is golden. They just expect people to figure it out. And at the end of the day, it just fractures relationships. In my particular case, riding for World Industries, once that was over, well, first and foremost, when I found out that things were going south, I was in New York City, living in New York at the time. I'm riding the train back home, and some Zoo York guys were on the subway. Small world. And it was the Zoo team manager and a couple of riders, and they asked me what if I had heard what happened with Anthony Shetler, and I'm like, no, I'm thinking the worst. And they said, no, he got on World, man. They offered him a board, a shoe, and a bunch of other stuff, some money. And so I was like, wow. And they were surprised that I didn't know. And so for me, knowing that that had taken place, the writing was already on the wall. And as I mentioned, I'm in New York. There was another incident that took place right before that, where they had a filmer and a couple of the riders. They flew them from Los Angeles to Philly on a filming trip and didn't tell me. I found out just reaching out to a guy to see how he was doing. And I called up a guy on a random day. Yo, how's it going? Everything good? And he said, yeah, man, everything's great. I just landed in Philly. And I'm like, what's going on in Philly? Is it a contest? And he said, no, man, I'm out here on the world trip. They, a what? Yeah, they sent me and this guy and that guy out here with the filmer to get some footage. And I'm going, wow, man, I'm like 90 miles away and nobody told me. So I called down the world, told them, like, man, it's crazy. Y'all are treating me like a second class citizen. And I live right up the road. You hassle on me for footage, but yet you send guys in my backyard to film and don't tell me. And they swore up and down that it was a mistake. They forgot. No, we wouldn't do that. Our fault. But it was what it was. So once I got the Shetler news, it was inevitable. And the fact that they didn't call me or ask me my opinion on it, that the writing was on the wall. And even stranger than that was, I told Shetler at a contest in Estonia about the program over at World and what they were working on. So ultimately, he took the advice that I gave him, just friend to friend, or I'll say associate, because I didn't really know him outside of randomly seeing him in places. I mean, we probably only had a 5-minute conversation tops ever. But I just shared with him what was going on in my building, and he took that upon himself when he got back to wherever he lived to reach out to the people at the building and made it happen. More power to him. But just the way it went down, it wasn't even an eye opener, but I can relate to what Chico dealt with. And it was strange for me because we'll just say my contract, or they terminated my employment with World Industries on a Monday, but I had a brand new board graphic releasing on that following day on Tuesday. And so after the conversation of me being off the team took place and the phone hung up, I could no longer get a hold of anybody in the building. Of course, at that point, once again, that whole we're a family and we're a brotherhood, that's thrown out the window. Now it's send them straight to voicemail. Tell the secretary or the receptionist that I'm out to lunch or I'm out of the building, and that was what I experienced. And that was simply just me calling to figure out the money situation on how I am no longer employed with you guys, but yet you're going to sell boards with my name on the bottom of them. So I could fully relate. I know what it is. 9 times out of 10 in this skateboarding space, most of it isn't genuine. It's all strictly business. You guys are just placed in a van because it makes sense on paper, money wise. And the second that your board stops selling, or there's, another kid that's asking to do the same thing you're doing for less, or you get a whole new team manager in the building that never liked you guys anyway, that's it. The run is over in that building. And you could expect these guys to, when they see you, look the other way, put their head down at the carpet, or ignore you, or just make it extremely awkward with nothing to say. So, on that note, at that point in the game, for me right now with skateboarding, I mean, good luck to anybody trying to get into the game. It's a great experience if you can make it, but it's not what it once was. It's not nearly what it once was in its prime or its heyday. So, for me, aside from a paycheck, there's not much more that the game, the industry could offer me. And I say that mainly because I don't even, most of these vans are the awkward short bus van anyway, with just all over the place. So aside from just a little bit of paycheck and the freedom of being able to wake up and ride that board whenever you want to, that's about all I could get from it at present day. But to be clear, I've made more money working a regular job than I did in the industry. The only difference is having to actually wake up and clock in and clock out and not having that 24-hour party freedom lifestyle. But other than that, life is gravy. You get a job, you get your full medical benefits and whatnot, you have your days off, you get to travel. The same deal is just on your dime, and you respect your time a little bit more. And in most cases, end up being more productive and have a sense of clarity about yourself. And for me, it just takes skateboarding right back to the essence of why I started skateboarding, and that was because it was fun. It was, and that fun turned into an outlet to let my imagination run wild with looking and obsessing about tricks and making those tricks a reality. So you guys get out there, ride it till the wheels fall off, and I will see you on the next episode of the Skate Escape. Peace.